Okay, I wanted to just continue discussing the situation that we find ourselves in, just to bring out a few points about it, a few areas of chizuk, and just it could be even things that I've mentioned in the past and discussed in previous situations here in Eretz Yisrael. First of all, I just wanted to, I had time, I looked up the Gemara that I mentioned last time about this idea. A lot of people got back to me about it, that they felt this idea really resonated with everybody I said this to. It's really resonated, and we see it hasn't died down at all, this idea, again, where I mentioned the last time, that this whole event is all about the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it's going on, and Kerry is referencing it, everyone's talking about the status quo being up there, even though everyone's saying there's no change, but they are completely 100% brainwashed, 100% focused on the change of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and that we're going up there, and even literally on mainstream news, which we're going to talk about that a little bit today, it's being reported, Palestinians, insisting that Israeli making moves without challenging it, without saying where is it coming from, even though it's complete and total, absolute shtus and sheker and hevel, except we said that no, really, they see what we don't see. I mentioned to you that Chazal say this idea, and so the Gemara is here, the Gemara in Megillah Daf Gimel, Aman Aleph. The Gemara discusses a story that took place with Daniel. V'ra'isi aniv Daniel levadi es mahamare v'hanoshim asher hayu imi lo ra'u es amare. Right? I saw this, and Daniel saw it. The people that were with me didn't see it. Aval charada gedola nafla aleihem v'yivruchu. But they were terrified and they ran away. So the Gemara discusses this. And the Gemara says, well, what do you mean? First it talks about who these people were, etc. And the Gemara says, well, if they didn't see it, so what were they running from? What was the point? What were they running? So the Gemara says, "Di chazi v'ini lo chazi." Yeah, so v'chi me'achad lo chazu. My time of the isu. Yeah, so if they didn't see anything, so what were they scared of? Daniel, he saw this terrible, vision. They didn't see anything at all. No, they didn't see it, but their mazel saw it. Their spiritual sense were picked up on this, and that's what we said, that Emet Hashem, that really is happening, but not the way they think it's happening. It'll happen in a way that they'll have to agree to it also, not that we're going to be taking it from them by force. That's not how it's supposed to go down. And okay, look, we should see it from here. I just wanted to address something else, and I think I mentioned this in the past, but again, all these things require chizuk. One of the things that is so frustrating to us, and I was even just looking in my notes, I mentioned this also when Rav Scheinberg came to America in about 15 years ago. Tafshin Samach Aleph was the second Intifada, and things were terrible then. There were hundreds of people that were being killed, and things were really terrible. And Rav Scheinberg came to America then, and he visited Chicago, and he spoke about things. And one of the questions that the people asked over there was an open question and answer, and a lot of the questions had to do with the situation. And one of the questions was, how to feel about the media and to get involved in the way the media portrays things and the unfairness. And he said, don't pay any attention. No one should pay any attention to the media. Don't pay any attention to the media. So I don't know. At the time, I guess I was, somewhat less mature, maybe less into reading the media and understanding what was going on in the world. And it made a lot of sense to me. But you see today what's going on. The media is a form of incitement. What goes on in the media translates literally into people being stabbed on the streets. And and there's no question about it that the Palestinian media is 100% inciting this violence. How so? Very simply by reporting half truths, by reporting the deaths of Palestinian youth at the hands of Israelis, but not mentioning that they were killed in the process of trying to kill somebody else and attacking. And that's 100% incitement. That's twisting the truth. Could you imagine? In America when it goes on, when there's a police shooting of a black person, can you imagine? If things would be presented completely and totally, and they sometimes are, but it very quickly gets cleared up, and and things, there's a backlash, etc., etc. But in this situation, this is going on, and we still have, Abbas, Abu Mazen, the head of the whole PA over there, and he's still referring to this 13-year-old kid that was killed, even though Israel released pictures of him in the hospital, and there's no questions about what happened. Every one of these attacks is on videotape. Everything is going on, and yet this is still going on. So the Palestinians, you can't really blame. Of course, this is what they're going to do. Like the Nazis, that's their propaganda machine. The Nazis also portrayed a vile, evil portrait of the Jews and how terrible they were and what a danger they were to society. You can't really blame our enemies. But what drives me crazy and really, is something that it really has no excuse. And I don't know, maybe somebody watching this can do something about this. Who to speak to or to call or what kind of email to write. But what's going on in the Western media, particularly CNN, just when I've looked at several articles there, it's just unbelievable to me. It's an unbelievable thing. And I want to just quote, before I say what I'm talking about, I want to just quote Ravali from Tehillim Perak Mem Dalet 44 in Tehillim, where he speaks. There's some famous psukim over here that speak about Klal Yisrael having tzaros, and it says over here, Ki alecha haragdu kol hayom, we're killed all day in your name, Hashem. Nechshavnu kitzon tivcha, we're thought like sheep for the slaughter. Right? This is a famous line. We say this in davening. Nechshavnu kitzon tevach yuval v'harog la'abed. We're told that alecha haragdu kol hayom, we're killed for you all day. So Ravali says, what do you mean? How can you be killed all day? A person is killed once and you don't die again. That's it. So look what he says. Einam neheragin b'maisa neheragin b'dibur. No, they're not killed. We're not killed by action all day. We're killed by words all day. Because it's mamish what he says. The chirufim and the gidufim of the goyim, their lies and their blasphemies against Klal Yisrael is like a stab of a sword. That's what he says. That's unbelievable. That's what's going on now. Literally, this inflammatory stuff is translating into stabbings of Klal Yisrael. Yeah, she'ena riga she'ti kol hayom ela chirufim v'gidufim shel nachrim shenogim ad libam ba'amram aleim kol hayom. Anyway, the chirufim of the goyim, that's what it. Anyway, it's just something. The way that this was portrayed on CNN, it was unbelievable. It was. I looked on the news Motzei Shabbos, and I try not to look at Israeli news sites Motzei Shabbos because I know they do news on Shabbos, and I want to try. So I looked on CNN Motzei Shabbos, and it said like this. It said 3 Palestinians killed, differing versions, emerge. Yeah. And it presented, the real story is this. The real story is that the Palestinian incitement is so clear from their news stories when their leader and their media is still talking about things that are clearly sheker, clearly open. That's the real story. But instead, they said, there were 3 Palestinians shot over Shabbos, and it said, this is the Israeli version. And it said a stabbing and this and this. Palestinian version, in the Palestinian media, no mention of a knife was made. In other words, they're like looking for the angle to squeeze out of the story a way to be unfair So I don't know. Is it anti-Semitism? I don't know. Is it too much liberalism and just trying? I don't know. Is it just looking for a good story and just attempted stabbings is not a good story? But Palestinian kids being shot in the street executions, like Abbas is trying to take it down to the UN for our street executions. And I saw one of the CNN. It's unbelievable. It's all min hashamayim, obviously, because nobody answers. Israel does the worst job of hasbara. He asked. One of the people said, isn't it? I heard that the streets of Jerusalem are flooded with police and army, and thank God, we feel safe taking our kids to school, and our kids are not crying at night now because there's police all around. Isn't that a provocation? Can you imagine such a question? Isn't that a provocation? A crime wave sweeps New York, so New York puts more police on the street. What a provocation to those criminal... Anyway, it's madness, which goes back to the fact that it's all min hashamayim. This is the Ratzon Hashem. Yes, we have to do our ishtadlus to protect ourselves. Yes, we have ishtadlus to do, if we can, to do something about the media. I don't know, I told this, it's the CNNtifada. That's what I want to call this video. That's really what this is. It's mamish, that's what it is. It's the media completely, rather than the story being the incitement and the incredible sheker that they just are selling and selling and selling, the media is just gobbling it up and sending it out to the masses of millions of people that it's mamish like as if it's the Palestinian media. Anyway, but this is what Ravali says, this is the lot of the Jewish people. More Torah, more mitzvos, more ma'asim tovim, more chasadim. Hashem should continue, Mirz Hashem, the unbelievable shmira that we're all feeling over here. 5 attacks attempted yesterday, and Baruch Hashem, it should only last and continue. They said that Rav Steinemann said when the Zman starts and everyone goes back to yeshiva, that's when the stabbings will stop, and that's what we see. It should only continue, Mirz Hashem. We should be safe.